Hey guys, Tina here and welcome to my first September wrap-up. Now in case you are not exactly caught up on my channel or you're new here, I have decided to go back to monthly TBRs and different type of wrap-ups because I have been doing weekly reads. But now I've decided, since I'm doing a monthly TBRs, not necessarily that I will be sticking to them because I'm not. But because of that, I will not be doing necessarily weekly reads, in which I will wrap up the books. I will do, depending on the number of books that I read, it might be weekly, it might be bi-weekly, it might be just monthly. Well, this time around it's about actually the last 2 weeks, and I am very happy with what I managed to read in the last 2 weeks because it's 4 books and I really enjoyed them all. So let's get to them. The first book that I managed to read is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, which is book 1 in the Wayward Children series, which is a series of novellas, and this is a really short book and also very expensive, I hated that. But I really love the book. In case you don't know it, it's about the children that find portals and they basically go through those portals and travel to distant lands, different dimensions and all that, and they end up in crazy worlds or really good ones, it depends. But all in all, they fit there, and once they are forced for some reason to come back, they do not really find a place for themselves back in our world. So they, parents a lot of the times get frustrated with them and send them to this boarding school that deals with this type of children. And we get to follow a few of these children around and just follow their story and learn more about them, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing style. It was so good. Just so poetic. It really pulled me in, and I was really surprised because it's not often that I really care about a writing style because, I'm not that picky about that, but this was just so well written. I loved it. A lot of people talk about just how, the parents in these books are terrible, and yeah, they're not the best, but I don't think the focus is really the parents. It's just the whole. You can find so many metaphors in this book for growing up, for becoming an adult, for things changing and how to deal with them. It's a really great book and I really enjoyed it. I'm not like a huge fan of it, like in the sense that a lot of other booktubers are, but I still think it's really good and I definitely recommend it, and I will be continuing on with the series. The next book that I finished is A Poison, Dark and Drowning by Jessica Clueless. That is book 2 in her Kingdom on Fire trilogy, and I was provided with an ARC copy of it by the publisher on NetGalley, and I already reviewed it, so I will link it up here so you can go check it out. And I will not go too deeply into the book itself. I really enjoyed it, but the general premise of the series is we get to follow the story of Henrietta Howell, who is a 16-year-old girl living in the 1800s in Britain. Now this is a world that it's slightly different to ours. There's magic, which is definitely not something that we have. So she's an orphan and she lives in this boarding school type of facility, and she's also a teacher there. And she has one great friend, and that is a boy called Rook. And Henrietta has a secret because she can wield magic, but in her world, that's not necessarily a good thing, because women that wield magic are usually, proclaimed witches and burned at the stake. So she's keeping that a secret, but one day when she saves a Rook's life, naturally that comes out, and she's basically shipped off to London and joins the sorcerers, and she's then trained and, dubbed the chosen one and all that, and her life changes completely. I really enjoy the world because it's historical, basically similar to our own, but there's magic, and there's 3 types of people that can wield magic. There are sorcerers, magicians, and witches, and they're all very different, and they do not get along, and I really find that fascinating, and I loved it. But, for more information, do go check out the review, because I do not want to talk about it all that long here right now. The next book that I managed to read is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco, which is another very popular book here on BookTube, and it's going to be even more popular next month with Halloween, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, in this book we follow Audrey Rose. She comes from a well-off family, and she is slightly eccentric because she's into science, and she's not interested in the ladylike things, but she wants to do autopsies, and she's actually studying with her uncle who does them, which her father hates. Her father is a germaphobe, and he hates the idea of her being in that type of environment where she can get sick, and he's really strict with her, and they have all sorts of fights. But just in general, her whole family is eccentric, and they do not get along all the time. But anyways, she gets involved in the Jack the Ripper case, and she wants to figure out who Jack is, and she soon realizes that you know, the stalker might be slightly closer to her family that she would have liked, and she's really determined to figure out who it is and to protect her family and society and just to figure things out. There's also a boy that she likes, and this boy is not a typical romantic interest as well, because there are moments when you just want to chop his head off, and then he's really cute and funny and just a perfect boyfriend. So yeah, it was a fun read. I didn't quite get into it as much as other people seem to. I did like it, but I don't know, I guess I was just too distracted while I was reading to actually just enjoy it as much as I would have hoped that I would. I will definitely be picking up the sequel, which is Hunting Count Dracula or something like that, because you know, it's a fun, it's not exactly historically accurate, but it's close enough. So yeah, I'm really happy that I finally picked it up, because I have been hearing about it for years, and well, now I have read it. And the last book that I read or listened to this month is actually a reread, and I knew before ahead of time that I would be liking it because I liked it the first time, so naturally I will enjoy it as well, one would think. And it's actually The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, which is book 2 in the Cormoran Strike series that follows Cormoran Strike, who is a private detective, and his assistant Robin that solve different cases. Now in this one they are hired to find this missing writer that wrote a really problematic book in which he slanders everyone that he knows, and of course there's a lot of suspects that might want to do him harm, and actually he ends up dead. They find him and then they have to figure out who the murderer is. I really love these books. I just love J.K. Rowling's writing, and I love the narrator of the books, Robert Glanister. He's fantastic. I really like him, and I am already continuing on with Career of Evil because I'm just so obsessed with these books. And it's really funny how, you know, this is our world. These are contemporary books. They take place in London. But once I'm done with them, I so miss this world, which is funny because that usually happens to me with a fantasy book. I don't usually go missing, you know, current locations that I could go to and visit, but it does happen with these books, and it's really funny. But yeah, that's what I've been reading the last 2 weeks, and I feel that it was a good 2 weeks. I'm still sort of, you know, slumpy. I do read, but I'm not really, you know, I don't read as much as I used to, because I could read more in 2 weeks if I really wanted to. But yeah, I'm just gonna briefly show you what I plan to read this week, and hopefully I will be done. But yeah, I am buddy reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte with Catherine from cover to cover. I will leave her channel down below or up above or both, so you can go check her out. She's fantastic. She reads such a wide variety of books that it amazes me. But anyways, we will be reading Jane Eyre. It's going to be really easy, you know, type of a read along, buddy read, and I'm really looking forward to this because it seems to be everyone's favorite classic book, and I have never read it. I watched the movies, so you know, I know what it's about, but I want to experience it for myself. So that is the project for this week, and I'm hopefully be reading it successfully. I don't know. Then I'm also reading, or not, Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, which is book 1 in her Life Ship Traders trilogy that I have been talking about forever now in my videos, so I will not go into it this time. I'm still in the middle of chapter 1, so I have not been reading it successfully. I don't know, right now reading such a huge book, it's just, I'm not just, you know, it's just the fact that I do not dedicate my time to it as I should, because if I did, you know, if I actually read more than a few pages a day, I would get into it and fall in love with it, I'm sure, but I will actually have to make an effort to do that, and then everything is going to be fine. But until then, I will be slugging through it very slowly. But yeah, anyways, those are all the books that I have been reading, or I'm trying to read, or whatever. So let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these, and how did you feel about them. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in my next one. Bye!